Okay, so this is probably quite a good one to start on. I'm going to try and not scroll too much as I go. But Alexa, open detailed weather.
Here is the detailed weather. It is 65 degrees Fahrenheit, or 18.5 degrees Celsius. At 0 inches per hour, it is not raining. Humidity is 69%. Cloud cover is 99%. Visibility is 7 miles.
Alexa,
wind speed.
Stop. Okay, so I'll just go through this one. This is probably going to be a good place to start because it's a really straightforward app that doesn't take much. It's not published, you won't find it anywhere. It's just for me because I could. I'd done a few, did the previous courses and things, and I thought I'm going to spend 5 minutes doing this one. 2 days later, I finished it, which you'll probably find we'll go through. But there's a few things on this one which really kind of show off the problems that I've hit. So we have weather intent, which isn't actually ever hit, but it's just in case you want to go in there. So let's just look at the code and bring this up. Make it a bit easier to see. So, basic concepts. I'm going to assume you've managed to create an app from or skill and get it working using the Alexa tutorials and ones that people have found.
I don't know that one.
No, she doesn't. She's now referred to as she from here on in. Because I'm not going over there. I might need her to demo a couple of things as we go. So all this app does is it doesn't do anything apart from launch. When it launches, she says something and then stops. So we have our intent created. It is joined together with the lambda function and they're connected and they work. I've been using the CLI for downloading things and using them. Go through Jeff's or other people's ones of how to set it up. If you're new to programming like I am, there was the whole thing of learning about NPM and installing different modules and how they work. That's really worth finding out about. But this is a good way of just going through a little bit of how the code works, just to understand what this bit is. If I go to this one, so this is our blank format that we have. This is an empty handler, CanHandle, handle bit underneath, .speak, .reprompt, .response. Get response. So that's your basic structure that you'll see. The CanHandle bit is really just asking, have I hit an area in the code? Have they said something where I can launch the below bit of code? So in this case, and you'll probably see it on your own one, are we in a launch request? Fairly straightforward. So if this is true, which on the launch request it is, you then have your handle intent underneath, and this is where you have to do stuff to create a response. This is all the bit that you're working in. You can send things off to functions, change it all of that. But you have to work within this section. So all I'm doing here is I've got get weather promise. We'll go into the promises, awaits, and things like that in a second. It goes off to the API of Dark Sky, downloads all the JSON, comes back, steps it all up. As I probably said, I'm not fantastic at coding. I am quite verbose in the way that I do things. There's probably an easier way of doing it. Don't look to me for that. But it kind of makes sense in my head to keep it fairly open at the moment, like my lovely if-then statements and things like that. So when you hit the handle intent, you know that you're only going to hit this because you've hit this section. So we're in a launch request, we go off, we get all the information, we strip it all out, we give it lovely variables. One of the things I found out about is actually using these kind of quotes. I'm on a Mac, and it is the one just by your shift key, as opposed to doing double quotes, single quotes. It means you can do $, open curly brackets, and then put a variable in it. When it comes to doing Alexa speaking, if you do, and I've done in the past, let me just find, oh no, different one. Trying to combine things, you kind of lose spaces, and then she ends up clipping words, and so this one, it might have welcome to Whiskey Companion, and because there's a dot on the end, she pauses. If not, she might just join the two together. This way is much easier because it puts the space in, so it is 58 degrees Fahrenheit will come back. That's one of the things I really wish I knew from the start. You will notice there is no reprompt here. Without a reprompt, she isn't going to wait for another response. So this essentially just stops this whole skill running. You will see this in your session end handlers and in your stop handlers. There is no get reprompt, so it just stops it. If you ask for help, she says something and then waits for a response. But if you ever hit the point of where your app skill just stops at the end, it is worth checking to make sure you've got the reprompt in there. It's needed. If not, you come to a grinding halt. So, basic structure. You have your CanHandle. It goes through. Async. This is what's been coming up quite recently. You have to, this means it's going to go off. It's going to get these variables and the whole JSON thing from the API. It's going to wait for that to happen. If not, because it's JavaScript, it just seems to just get on with it, which is fantastic. And so if you didn't have this, it would be sat there waiting, going off, getting all the information whilst all these things come back as undefined, 0, doesn't work, can't times by 1,000, there's nothing to do to fix to, and all you'll get is when you go to test it, oh, you have a problem with it. Which brings me to the thing which took me 2 days to figure out. When you get a lot of the code and you use the blueprints off Amazon for your lambdas and things like that, you will find, where have they gone? Dashboard functions. The node version is always going to be 6.1. This needs to be changed to 8.1 to get your asyncs and awaits to work, unless, again, it just won't work if it's on 6.1. It's a bit frustrating that you kind of, because I created this from a template, I didn't see it. It is literally a case of, if you go into one after you've created it, drop down menu, change it to 8.1, your asyncs and awaits, if you're doing DB stuff, is going to start working. So that's some of the things that I've learned. This may have gone on a bit longer. I'm going to stop this one here and then come back to kind of building on this with another skill that I've been working on, and things might make a bit more sense.